Hello and welcome to this edition of Rethink India Masterclass. Today we have a legend with us who has served some of the finest institutions across the country, from the desert land of Rajasthan to the valiant land of Maharashtra, and now to the pristine hills of Mussoorie. We have today with us Madam Meeta Sharma. Madam has served as the principal at Maharaja Savai Mansingh School, Jaipur. She also had enormous, phenomenal contributions at Modi School Seeker, Rajasthan, which happens to be an all-girls premier institution. Madam established some of the, I would say, outlying initiatives over there, like a finishing school of manners and etiquettes. And and she also got some of the finest international affiliations out there. She also is the founder of an international school at Karjat, Maharashtra. And moving from all this global experience, Madam is now spearheading the Mussoorie International School, which was founded in the year 1984 under the inspiration of Acharya Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, one of the doyens of Indian heritage and culture, and the motto of this school, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodaya. So Madam is really cubed to compare the globally best, the international facets of education with what is engraved in the Indian tradition. Welcome you, ma'am. I would just like to give a short glimpse of this wonderful school, and of all the school websites which we have gone across. A small film at the front page of Mussoorie International School gives you quite a decent, I would say, overview of what pristine settings this lovely school is out there. It happens to be one of the finest boarding schools, all girls boarding school, and the school takes pride in creating fearless leaders and women of integrity. And to our viewers, I just want to try to take their attention towards this, I would say, this graphic. It's a multilingual Swagatam, which Mussoorie International School brings in, using the power of language to express that students from 27 odd countries come to get nurtured and chiseled in these pristine settings. So this is a short glimpse of this wonderful community in the hills of Mussoorie. Welcome you, ma'am, on this masterclass. So
Thank you, Raghav.
Yeah. So this is just after the summer solstice. We had the longest day yesterday, and so now we are on a different curve of, and there was a solar eclipse as well yesterday. So what has been driving you in such a crisscross journey across the country, and what has been, I would say, your single learning experience from this wide spectrum, from the desert land of Rajasthan and now to the hills of Mussoorie?
So thank you very much. Thank you for having me here, Raghav. To begin with, I'd like to add that besides whatever you've said, I've also spent 12 years at the Doon School, Dehradun. So, which is also another experience. It's altogether a different world. So to answer your question as to what has been the driving force, I think it's just been passion. It's just been learning and continuity in my learning graph. I was at the Doon School. I joined the Doon School somewhere in 2004, and I was there till 2016. And it was a man's world, an all-boys school. Mm-hmm. And thereafter, having done what a woman could do there, to the best of her ability. Things have changed now there also. When I thought that my growth was being limited because of my being a woman in a man's world, I thought I would like to move on to another dimension of education. And at that very moment, this opportunity was offered to me, which I willingly took. And I moved on from an all-boys school to an all-girls school. And frankly speaking, I enjoyed it because having been at an all-boys school for so many years, I had actually forgotten that there were so many girls also, and they could exist at one place.
Mhm.
So it was a total change from grays and blacks and browns to the colors of Rajasthan, which are so vivid, to the oranges, to the hot pinks, and to the smiles and the affections of those girls. So that was it. It was, I carried my experience, my international experience. I was one of those in the pioneer team to bring in the international curriculum to the Doon School in 2004. And having learned all of that, Doon School is supposed to be a nursery for headmasters. It nurtures every human being, every teacher with all possible skills that are required to head other schools. And they consider that they do service by providing headmasters to other schools. So that is how a lot of us move out after, getting whatever we can, growing with the value system and with the skills over there. I wanted to kind of not change the Modi school, but I wanted to kind of uplift it to a different level, to bring in a lot of internationalism, because that is my forte, and just to kind of add my value, add whatever I had learned to the school. It was good learning experience. It was a total different setting altogether, and it was just passion. It was the love. I always believe what you give, you get back. And for me, more than seeing a kid very, very successful, it's more important to see that kid very happy. You may be successful yet not happy. You would not be a complete human being. And if you are happy, the driving force to be successful automatically just kind of figures in. So it's passion, it's love for the children. And that's what takes me from one place to the other.
That creates a phenomenal headmaster in the right truest sense, probably. Madam, you have moved from an all boys school to an all girls school. So what is that one predominant distinction you would like to say between these two extreme experiences, I would say?
I think both of them were very challenging in their own sense. But in all boys school, the boys generally get even with each other physically. So there would be a blue eye, or there would be like to go on to the very, very extreme, maybe a ruptured eardrum. They would just physically make out with each other. And, you had to just keep them in those checks and balances. But yes, the next day they would be walking hand in hand, and it's over for them. Whereas I felt in an all-girls school, though I am also from the same, the gender, I would say that the girls end up playing more mind games, and those mind games last much longer than the tiff that the boys have. They don't carry it much longer. It's all done and over and a new day. Whereas these girls, they do play mind games, and those mind games could lead to emotional distress. Those mind games could lead to social ostracizing. Those mind games could lead to less of tolerance and adaptability for a new child who comes into that kind of a domain. So that is what I felt. And so that was one major difference, besides the colors, like I said, besides the blues and the blacks, besides those, to the colorful land, to the color of colors. And also, affection, in terms of affection, they were, the ways of demonstrating affection was very, very different. In the boys as well as the girls. The girls were more demonstrative in their affection as compared to the boys. So these were some of the major differences. Of course, the thinking power. I would say that the way they think is also, and the way they solve a problem was also at different levels. Maybe the genetic makeup is different. So the way they attack a problem, and that's why somehow after being at an all-girls school and an all-boys school, and then raising and co-ed school, then heading a co-ed school, now coming back to an all-girls school, somewhere I feel that once you learn better with your own sex, However, there would always be a gap when these kids from single-sex schools go into colleges. There would be a gap because probably, they are trained, but yet not so well trained because it is not experiential learning to deal with the other members of the members of the other sex. Like schools like ours, as well as Doon, for that matter, we have socials. We call in people, we call in boys, they bake cakes, we have dinners together, there is a little dancing, a little socializing happening. But that's not it. It really doesn't get you to that kind of experiential learning. So probably I feel that they're really not prepared in that sense when they come from a single sex school. So this is what I have experienced. They take a little while. They have all the confidence, but somewhere there is that little hesitation, which which they overcome eventually. But it's there in the initial few months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So much so far on the gender discourse, like two extreme sides, and then mixing and mingling of it. So the reality somewhere lies somewhere in between for an overall growth. That's.
Do you also feel, ma'am, that although there is a gender containment in an all girls and all boys school, but then is there this observation that the concentration or the focus of the children on their life, on their academics, on their activities, is it more than a co-ed school? This is a subtle observation.
I strongly agree with you. Yes, it is more. And research, it's not me, but the research has proven this. A lot of research has happened at Oxford as well as at Harvard regarding single-sex schools. And they say that to compete with somebody who's wired like you, is much more healthy and probably much more uplifting and gives you more confidence than to compete with somebody who is not like you, who's inherently not like you. So there is a lot of research to prove that girls actually perform better when they go to single-sex schools as compared to co-ed schools. I don't know about the distraction. Well, they could be distraction, but then they could be distraction even in a single-sex school for that matter. Not because of the presence of people, but also because you get distracted because of a lot of physical changes in you, because now, of course, technology is there, which is huge distracting. It's a huge learning platform, but yet you also need a lot of social and emotional mentoring along with it, because we do not want children to decipher what they are actually understanding at their age and stage of learning, which may not be the correct impression on their minds. So that open-mindedness has to be inculcated even among them, or else they would be distracted by their understanding, which is limited from the internet. So distraction can come in from, all kinds of places. Yeah. But of course, I do agree.
Yeah. So
that single-sex schools do well.
Yeah. So the other extreme experience which comes from your majestic profile is that you founded one of the, I would say, global academy of manners and etiquettes, a kind of a Canadian finishing school at the Modi School in Sikar, in the desert of Rajasthan. And here at Mussoorie International School, you are being inspired from the Vedic aphorisms and the kind of a word view coming from our own Indian traditions of maybe under Swami Sri Ram Sharma Acharya. So how do you see these two paradigms towards feminism as a whole, grooming the girls towards that mannerisms and etiquettes from that Victorian or from that anglicized perspective, and the feminism of the Indian self? So we would like to really...
I think they complement each other.
Okay.
At Modi, the girls came from such backgrounds where it was a necessity.
Okay.
To kind of give them a little push in terms of their mannerism, in terms of the way they communicate. It was a necessity over there. At this school, I don't feel it is a necessity. Mm-hmm. I really don't feel, because they come from such backgrounds, elite backgrounds, where they have, this mannerism is a part of their growing up. It's a part of the family culture, and it's a part of the school. So it's very easy for them to kind of get into the culture which is required in school, which is as good as any finishing school in the world. We don't need a finishing school at Mussoorie International School. As far as the tradition bit is concerned, I think the reason why we have girls from 27 countries is because of this niche which we have, which is unparalleled, unthought of in any other school. I'd like to tell you, Raghav, that this is a school whereby every Saturday we have havans, and these havans are led by the house captains. So we believe that every child is special and every child needs to be celebrated. The efforts need to be celebrated. So we are the only school in this country which has 3 houses. Every school has a house system, and they have 4 houses. We only have 3 houses, and this is very, very deliberate because we don't believe in anybody coming forth. Everybody has to be at some level. So everybody gets a prize. Everybody is honored. Everybody gets to shake the headmaster's hand, right? So every child in every competition is a winner. So we believe only in the concept of 3 houses. We have 3 house captains, and these 3 house captains, they actually lead the havans. They know all the mantras. For me, I'm still learning the mantras. I don't know all of those mantras. And I'm giving myself a deadline that maybe in the next 6 months, I must be able to lead a havan myself. But these girls lead the havans, and they have 150 girls surrounding. So we are a school built up only for 450 girls. My primary section has only 50 girls, which is unheard of. From grade 1 to 5, we only have 50 girls, and we don't go beyond 50 because we believe we cannot nurture them beyond that. We will lose on our quality if we go beyond that. Whereas in day schools, you have 50 girls to 1 class. So this is an amazing setup where every girl who's given to us walks out of these hills and surroundings as a lady who's fearless, a lady who speaks her mind, and a lady who's respectful of all seniors as well as juniors. So getting back to the havan bit of it, the head girl sits, she leads, and every house has 150 girls because we are like 450 girls, and 150 girls surround 1 kund. So we have around 3 havan kunds, right? And every Saturday morning, early in the morning, it seems as if the entire Rishikesh has come to school. It seems so. They are dressed like that. They speak on top of their voices, melodious. It's like chanting in one breath to heaven. I'm sure the gods also sit up right and straight and watch down and bless us. So it is that kind of an environment. It's an environment where every festival is celebrated. If it's Durga Puja, 9 days with an immersion. If it's Ganesh Chaturthi, we begin with the Prabhat Feri in the morning, with the Sthapana, with the Visarjan the 4th day. We do every festival. And believe me, this is a school where we have, as I said, children from so many nations. We celebrate their festivals. So, internationalism actually is a part of our culture. Whether these kids will get to go to those places or not, that's time will tell. But the culture of those countries is within our school. Their parents come to school to celebrate their festivals with the kids, and the entire community gets to see it. So this is something very special about this place. There's another thing that we do over here, and which is very, very deep rooted into our system. It's kind of interwoven into our fabric of being a Miss Star. The Mussoorie International School girls are called Miss Stars. So it's a MIS, and then it's kind of amalgamated with a star. So we call them Miss Stars. So here at school, it's compulsory for every girl to do 40 hours of service. She may get a 99%, in her academics. She will not be promoted to the next grade if she has not completed 40 hours of service. Out of these 40 hours of service, 20 she must do within school and 20 she must do outside school. Every month, there is a roster which is put up on the service board, which tells us who has done how much service. And the best part of it is that we don't push them to do service. I mean, there is, of course, a mandate, like I said, but we don't push them to do service. They actually have to volunteer every Friday. Every Friday assembly, announcements are made whereby they are told that they are, the service is happening at these 3-4 places. And they have to register for the service, keeping the hours that they have to make up. If they have too much of homework, it's perfectly fine. They don't go. They can sit down and complete their homework. But if their week is a little lighter, they could choose to do service on the weekends. And so on Saturdays, the announcements are made who's going to go where. As a school, we have adopted 3 villages. We are in the hills, so there are a lot of small hill villages in the hills. We adopted around 3 villages and we run a community school. So the girls actually trek down to these villages, serve the villages. We do a lot of community development programs and a lot of other programs. And they have their lunch with the villages. So we pay up the villages. They also get to earn some money from us. They cook the food and the girls. And believe me, they eat more in the villages than they eat in school. They love the food there. So this is what we stand for.
True. One of the very peculiar aspects which I could gather is that Mussoorie International School has taken up the internationalization anchored into the Indian tradition and culture. This is quite a unique experiment, seeing the other aspects of it. So how have you intricately balanced it? Where did this confidence and this daring came that internationalism, India had been a Jagat Guru, those things had been there in the past, but daring to amalgamate or the Indic version of internationalism is somewhere at play. Would you like to say more about how it is going on?
So I'll tell you, I actually, my primary education happened in Australia, in Canberra. So when I came back to India, I was in grade, I think 6. Okay. And I knew no Hindi at that time. And my parents, in their good wisdom, they thought that the best way to teach me Hindi was to put me in a Hindi medium school. So having studied 4-5 years abroad and then being put into a Hindi medium school with the understanding that probably I would learn more Hindi in a Hindi medium school than in an English medium school was a total disaster. Mm-hmm. And having grown up at Australia, I could not fit into the Indian culture. Though I was an Indian, but I actually could not fit into the Indian culture because I had spent more time with the people over there, less time probably with my parents because both of them were working. And when they would come home, I would be fast asleep. Right. So I found that the acceptance of someone who is an Indian, yet comes with a culture which is not so Indian, was very minimal. And believe me, there were times when I would cry myself to sleep, which was very, very traumatic and painful. I lost my accent after some time. However, it stayed within me that tolerance and acceptance is the foremost thing that must be inculcated in every child, boy or girl, before the child completes formal education. And if we have tolerance and acceptance for each other as human beings, irrespective of gender, skin, race, religion, boundaries, international boundaries, we would definitely make this place a better place for you, me, and the entire human race. And that's actually what learning is. The sensitivity towards each other. I did not get that. I was rebuked, I was mimicked, and I was made to speak the way I would speak. which was very different from the way the Indians would speak at that given moment of time. That has stayed with me for a very, very long time. And I have always wanted the international kids who are not really international, because by birth they are, or by genes for that matter, they belong to the Asian subcontinent. I wanted them to be accepted. I wanted them to be tolerated. I wanted them to have a choice of practicing and living what they want to live. And this is one school whereby, you know, I'm at peace with my own self. I'm at peace because I see the Thai girls, the Nepali girls, girls from Canada, girls from US, girls from London, you know, they all are happy to cohabit this place and live together. And so when happiness becomes the baseline, internationalism seeps in automatically. When tolerance is a virtue among children who are growing, they learn from each other. I don't really have to make exceptional changes in school when the culture of the school is such. So this is an amazing place to live in. You know, even the pandemic times, I'm still in school, I'm sitting in my office, but the place is so beautiful and so soulful. You know, this land, they call it the Dev Bhumi. Uttarakhand is actually supposed to be the Dev Bhumi. There it seems as if I'm in a wildlife resort, right? With so much of beauty abound, natural beauty abound, not just the hills, the flowers, the wildflowers, the trees. This is a place, probably maybe something like the ancient Gurukuls, yet so modern, like our traditional, our tagline. You know, we have traditional values, but we have a modern outlook.
I think Madam has enunciated the real genesis of the spiritual foundations, which is all about tolerance and acceptance and inclusion, having 3 houses, no 4th pedestal, so it's all in action. I was, because what happens is there are institutions, there are places where tall claims are done, but to live by the motto, the Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, which says that we pray to propel our intellect on the divine righteous path to unfold spiritual potential and enlightenment. And probably it is in action. This is really profound, ma'am, because tall words are easy to speak out, but to live and lead by them continuously is really a great challenge. And the central focus which I'm seeing is happiness. Madam is in love with the kids and the kids have to be happy. So the disciplinarianism is always cloaked around happiness as a whole. Ma'am, we also observe that you are one of the very few schools who talk about life skills but referenced to a global body. You have referenced your life skills kind of a curriculum with the WHO, the 9 life skills which WHO mandates. So you have no qualms in referencing to authorities and taking things forward. So what all is done apart from the academic rigor, this life skill and the school motto, how they juxtapose with each other?
So it's not just the WHO, you know, those life skills which are mandated by them, but we also believe in the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay.
So the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we've taken the reference, we've kind of amalgamated both of these, and we've taken reference from these and created a framework of activities within school whereby we provide opportunities and create situations for the girls to react. And the reaction is then noted, and the reaction is then deliberated upon, and then we get to know the values of the child. You know, like they say, values can never be taught. You know, values have to be modeled. And how do you model them? You model them in certain situations. You know, the best of you comes out under pressure. But you got to create that pressure, pressure which is optimum, where the child does not break down, right? And if the child is unable to take that pressure, then also you must be ready to embrace the child and to ensure that you prepare the child to take that pressure. Because life after school is hot pressure cooker for that matter. COVID is of course one situation, but then there's so many other things. The requirement at school is to prepare them for life, prepare them for the next stage, right? And I personally believe, though I am an academician, taught all my life, almost all my life, but I personally believe that the real learning happens outside the classroom. So what we have done is, okay, academics, of course, we got to follow the guidelines which have been set by Cambridge assessment bodies, which have been set by the International Baccalaureate Assessment Bodies, and of course our council, the Indian Council. We got to follow those guidelines. Besides that, we enhance the learning through various clubs, through various social activities, through the the performing and the non-performing arts. Every child in my school has to learn a foreign language. She can pick and choose. Every girl in my school has to have one performing art and one non-performing art. Now, where performing art could be theater, it could be a non-performing art, for example, could be something like, though debating is also kind of performing, but it could be something technical like being a junior chemist or being an astronomer, or and also join one society like a happiness society. We have plenty of such societies, a business conclave, business society. Yeah, so we have, so it's a one performing art, one non-performing art, one society is a must for every child. A child has to play one group or a team sport and one individual sport. Besides this, swimming is compulsory. So there are so many, musts that have to be done by the child. Every minute of the day is so organized. From here to there, there to there. A pressure is of course there. Tiredness of course sets in, but it's all productive learning. And all these activities actually have a lot of skill development in terms of collaboration with each other, in terms of communication, in terms of creativity, all the 3 C's. We also have an entrepreneurs club whereby girls of any age can pitch in a project to the school, to a particular society, whereby there are certain teachers in it. And in case the project gets approved, the school funds the project. So it could be in grade 5, grade 3, if a girl comes up with a project. Now, of lately, we've had this girl who would want to do, microfinancing. So she got a team of girls with her. They collected a lot of money, and then they put up this project that they want to buy wool and give it to the villagers down there. We are blessed with an naturally air-conditioned environment. We don't have any air conditioners and fans in school. So, and it's pretty cold. So she said that, why could we not start some venture? She got this idea from somewhere which she read, because I've read about this before, but we were okay with it. So they gave their pocket money into it. They bought wool, they gave it, they sold it. Small beginnings for somebody who was in just grade 6 or 7. And we were pretty okay with it. There are girls who are, of course, now let me just talk about the COVID time. This is pretty interesting, how the girls are still carrying out with service in COVID times. So my class of 2021 has conducted an intra-school MUN where they managed to get 150 girls to participate, and they raised 75,000 rupees. And those 75,000 rupees, they have written to the school to me that they would want to buy sanitary pad making machines, get them installed in school, and then probably start up with some activity whereby they could create these pads which would cost them just 1 rupee or 2 rupee and distribute them free of cost to the villages, to those villages that which we have adopted. Yeah. That's one. They came up with another program, and these are all fantastic ideas generated by these girls, the leaders of tomorrow, the CEOs of companies, and job providers of the years to come. So there's another girl from grade 12. She came up, she said, we would do a series of lectures, and we would call this program Senior Leads Junior because we eventually do it in school. But since school is closed down and we're not getting to mentor our junior girls, let's do it, in an online platform. Let's do it virtually. So they did this, and they have got another, I think, 120 odd girls who joined in for this program. We just left it voluntarily for the kids to join in. They raised some more money. They are in the process of now conducting a mock parliament for grade, I think, 4 to grade 8, where one thing that really tickles me is that they said, we expect them to wear saris with small bindis, and they would be ministers. We would tell them what is their portfolio, and we would also only debate and deliberate and strategize on issues which relate to their age group.
Wow.
So the education ministry would probably talk about, or the education minister, whoever she becomes, would talk about whether Zoom should happen or not happen, whether online classes should happen or not happen. The finance ministry would only talk about whether fees should be collected or not collected, and all those kind of things which are prevalent to these times, which would make it very interesting for them. So, and this would also come at a cost because it's all fundraising. So they are raising funds, sitting across the country, across the globe, and yet giving back to school. We believe that if we can actually sow the seed of giving back to society, even in 2% of our girls, and mind it, I say 2% of our girls, and if every school could do it, just in 2% of the students, when their time comes and they give back to the society, even if 2% population of every school, when it grows up and is of age and stage and has enough to return back, we would probably be the best nation of the world. And that is the spirit with which we try to do this, and it's tremendous to see it, growing leaps and bounds in the girls. They write back, they send videos. It's amazing. It's really amazing.
I think by all means, with whatever little knowledge we have got from Madam, it's really a school, a learning community of synthesis, where globally kids are coming in, they are synthesizing. There is a synthesis of the global traditions with Indic traditions. There is synthesis of entrepreneurship with academia. There is almost, it's all getting gelled into a very, I would say, a coalesced way of education. And as Madam said, happiness is at the core of it all. And with such love and adulation, Madam is leading this school community. Madam, how this culture has sustained over these decades? This is one of the biggest challenges which school founders or things like that. You have been out here. This is our last question. What has continued this culture for these 3 decades plus? What is the secret behind?
I think, the Western world is actually coming back to our culture. They are doing yoga, and these girls who come, they're actually coming from those countries. They've been born and brought up there for the primary years of their, their life. And they're coming and joining school in 4th, 5th, 6th, or whatever. The reason is because people have a strong belief in our traditions, our culture, and our way of living life, which has been very, very selfless. It's very unlike the family values of many countries, for that matter, especially the Western world. So the parents have had opportunities, they've lived lives, but they still want their children to grow the way they grew, yet retain the modernity. I would like to tell you that, as I say, that this school is a blessed school, and it's been, as you've also said, that it's kind of was inspired by a dream. The founder, Mr. Raval, actually had a dream. He wanted to build up a hot hotel and a resort, but in his dream, he was told that he must build an all-girls school. And so he went ahead and built this school with so much of passion. The library in school, which is a 4-story building, all by itself, every drop of water which was used to build the library has come from the river Ganges. Every drop of water. So this is it. It's, the girls may come from various backgrounds. However, when they are in school, they just become all so aligned to the value system in school. It's not difficult for me. The international curriculums in school have actually brought in a lot of, opportunities for the best of pedagogies to come into school, the best of learning to happen. The approaches to teaching and learning have changed, right? However, our fundamental value system has remained consistent, which is also commendable, because in the times where value systems are changing so rapidly, we've been able to maintain this because we believe in it. We believe that this will do inherent good to each girl who grows up. Our havans, our tradition, our culture calms down. The pious fire which is lit up, actually, even if a girl doesn't know those, she's new and she doesn't know those Vedic mantras, the chanting calms her so stressful mind from whichever background she's come. It calms her, the warmth fills you with hope. So when you strongly believe in something, you continue in it. The continuity maintains all by itself. And that has been amazing. And that spirit has led the school. We are now into our 4th decade.
And what I can gather is like the spiritual foundations have not been, I would say, constricted to some rituals itself. It has manifested into the entire school tradition per se. Now, this is which has kept that flame alive, because generally what happens in the traditions, you're just glued to it, you become conservative. But it has really came about 27 countries, girls sitting over there, and as you said, what a sight it would be, chanting the mantras and really glued to that. 40 hours of service is not a joke, and 20 hours in the school and 20 hours outside. So I think it's a giant tradition. The grand Indic tradition is really, I would say, being lived over there in practice. And it has not stopped. It has not stopped. It has not got constricted. This is the beautiful part I could see. And the way Madam is leading with her global education till class 6th, she was in Australia. And this is the kind of experience and hope which the school has brought in. Madam, it was such a lovely interaction. We learned a great deal from you. And I think our viewers, who would be the other school principals and faculty members across, as you said, that Doon School is the breeding ground for headmasters. I think the true Indic internationalism which you have initiated in this short period of time in practice with so much of empathy, compassion, happiness, you want to see the glee on the face of the kids. So this is something which our viewers would really be learning from this masterclass. Thanks a lot, Madam, for joining with us today. It was really an enlightening experience. Thank you very much, ma'am. Our bows to you and the great work you are doing out there at Mussoorie International School. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.